working with Infosol for almost a decade now. And I primarily work with a lot of dashboards, visualization, web intelligence, universe design. So I've been going through a lot of these latest versions and reviewed a lot of them, tested some of the new ones. So I'm very excited about presenting this one, what's new features in 4.2 SP6. So before I start, how many of you are on 4.2 already? Quite a lot of you. And how many, which service pack are you on right now? 2, 3, 5, that's awesome. You're already on 6? You just moved to 6? Awesome. And anyone on 3.1 yet? Still? That's good. It's all right. So SP4 service pack 4 and 5, they came in with a lot of new features. And SP6 as well has a lot of major enhancements. So to begin with, I have kind of classified the new features into 3 different categories. So first one, and most of the new features are in the analysis and the reporting side. And there are a couple on the query area, and then there are certain new features in the interactive viewer. So have any of you used the interactive viewer or the Fiori? That's how they call it, Fiori Launchpad. Have you seen it in any other sessions or presentations? All right, so that will be an exciting one. So let's get into this. So one of the very important and major enhancements they have added in Service Pack 6 is the time dimension. So what time dimension allows us to do is, within the report, when you have in the report in the query, once you have added a date type dimension, it allows you to create more dimensions or more I can call it a dimension, I guess. Allows you to create more time dimensions out of the date to improve your data analysis. For example, on the right-hand side screen, and I'll also demo that in a live report. You can see from the order date dimension, which is all I queried from my universe, I can create more dimensions like month of the order date, quarter of the order date, year of order date, week, semester, there are some more features as well. So with this, I don't know whether some of the issues that Cindy has been facing with dates to having create a lot of dimensions in the universe itself, maybe some of them will be solved by this. But only one thing, that all of these have to be created in the report. The scope of this is within the report itself. Whoever is designing the report, they have access, only they have access to that within the report. The only thing to keep in mind that the week of the date cannot be selected along with semester, quarter, or month. So if you choose one, it automatically deselects the other. The advantage of this is not just you have those dimensions already created for you, but what Webby does, it allows a continuous time series. So imagine if your data does not have, say, November 2019. My data is like 10 years behind. So November 2019, when you're getting the data from your query, somehow your data does not have any November 2019 data. So what it's going to do normally, that it's going to skip that data point when you plot that against a chart, right? It's just going to go July, August, September, October, and December. Now you may be comparing that same chart with another time series chart that has November data, but that may not have September data. So when you're stacking them one on top of another, you're not having a continuous time series to really look at. It's not very easy to compare. What this new time dimension does is it fills in those missing data points based on the actual time series. It makes your chart a continuous axis. So in the left-hand side, you can see that the first screenshot is where I have used this new time dimension, and I have a November 2007, even though I don't have any data for that. But the other table is just the regular ordered month object from my universe, and that does not have the November month in there because it's not in the data. So that's a huge advantage of using this. Webby fills in those missing data points if you're using the time dimension. So we'll check that in the report as well, how to create. So the next feature is view time filtering. So if you have ever used a business security profile on the universe, before service pack, to take that effect, the report has to be refreshed before it takes the user, whoever has logged in, to apply the security profile. However, we have a new checkbox now. On the top, you can see in the report document property, if you check the apply security filtering on open, then it actually applies the security based on the user who has logged in on the instance of the report itself. So even without having to refresh your document, the security will be applied. So if your business security profile has denied access to a particular object or has denied access to a particular row, for example, I can see the data only for business unit equal to education, then that's all I can see without having to refresh my document. So that saves a lot. It has been a request for a long time from a lot of developers. The next big one is the intra-document linking. What it does, as the name says, you can create a hyperlink and navigate within a single document from one report tab to a second report tab. So you can, even though you can look at the report tabs and click on whichever tab you want to go to, there are a lot of times when, for a certain group of users who may not be very savvy to find out the tabs, it helps to make it more intuitive to provide a hyperlink, something like this. That's how you add it. Then I have 4 tabs that I can add links within my report tabs to navigate between one another. So that's a more guided analysis allowance. And I can also kind of create a home page or an index page that you land on when you open up the report. From there, you can just click on the link and go to the tab or the report you want to look at. This feature has to be enabled from CMC by your UI. And if you have used the document linking, this intra-document linking setting up is very similar to that. You go to you take any cell, add linking, intra-document linking, and select the reports from the list of reports you have, and then easy to set up from there. All right, I think this is the last one from the analysis side. So the first one, automatically add measure. So I'm sure most of you have used the break feature of use the break in your Webby report. So now what you have to do is, once you apply break, you have to go to your measure and add some count or whatever aggregation you want to see. It's not like the most painful thing to do, but still it's nice that now they have added, as soon as you apply your break, it automatically adds the measure, the aggregate measure, the sum, or whatever is the default aggregation defined for that measure, it adds it right away. So it's a few clicks, it definitely saves a few clicks, and it's a cool, nice thing. The next one, page number formula per section. So this is more of a compatibility with desktop intelligence. The desktop intelligence users have been requesting this for a long time. In Webby, you could, when you add page number to sections, it just gives you continuous page numbering, whereas now you can reset the page number for each section. So Desky could do it, Webby could not do it until now. Basically what it does on that screenshot is, so I've added that 3/8 is basically the regular page number function. It's continuous, but on the page 1 in section is every time there is a new section, it resets the page number to 1. So you know within that section whether it's page 1 or 2. It's not continuous. The next one, export PDF bookmark. So when you export your document to a PDF that has sections, it creates those bookmarks, right? However, it doesn't automatically open up the bookmarks panel. With the new checkbox now, it automatically opens up and you can see you have those bookmarks available. And for if you're using OpenDoc for navigating to a new document, now you can actually use format P for PDF and E for Excel to actually open the linked document in those formats. So any questions so far? I'll go into the demo as well, but if you have any questions. And we have a few new charts as well as new features in existing charts. One of the two brand new charts are funnel and pyramid. So this has been a long due request, I guess, or CRM type of reports require these charts, and now we have them. It's pretty easy to set up as well, I'll show you. And for bar charts, you can actually change the overlap. Like you can see the orange column kind of overlaps partially with the blue column. So you can adjust the values to set it up to overlap how much you want. And in the waterfall chart, you can set up dynamic axis, dynamic value axis now. So you can see it starts from a non-zero value. So based on your, the minimum value and the maximum value of the axis can be a variable or a formula now, which is very convenient. All right. The look and feel have been changed to show more, the default look and feel is now more modernized. Instead of blue headers, now you will see more gray and more modern look. So I really love that one. Better color palettes, and legends are no longer added to the simple chart. So you may have seen that you add one dimension and one measure and it still adds a legend to the chart, which is not very useful. You have to go and remove that most of the times. So what they have done now is, if it's just one measure, they don't add it doesn't add the legend by default. For query, there is new support for text files source, just like Excel. And I'll show you how to do that. It's very similar to how you use an Excel file as a source in your web interface. And then refreshable option. This is a very convenient feature. So now if you have multiple queries in your Webby document, you can turn off one or more of those queries to not refresh when you refresh the Webby document. So there might be like list of states or list of departments, certain things that you know are not going to change frequently. So instead of, so what happens now when you refresh a document, all the queries are refreshed, right? They all run. So now you can turn off those specific queries that you don't really want to run every time, every day the report runs. So that's really a good feature to be added. In the interactive viewer, we have a lot of new options like auto refresh, and I'm going to go over this in the actual document. More animation and more interactions in the interactive viewer. Okay. So any more questions before I go into the actual environment? All right, I need to leave the mic now. Let me try. I don't have a very good loud voice. So yeah, I'll try with the mic and see. Okay. It's still showing the slides. Okay, so I don't know all of you at the back if you can actually see this, but I have order date, order month, and product name, and number of orders, these 4 objects from my query. However, for my order date, I use this. If you right click on this and then create time dimensions, it takes me to this screen. I'm gonna click on the edit now because I already have some. So it gives you a screen and a list of time levels that you can choose from. Year, semester, quarter, month, week, day. And then you can also add display additional attributes. So along with month, it will give you month name as well as month number. So if you check that box. You can change your fiscal month. So if your fiscal year does not start from January, which is the case for many business, you can set it up to say April. First day of the week, whether it's a Sunday or a Monday, how do you define your week? So you can define all that here, and then you can also set a date range for which these dimensions will be applicable for. So once I have those options up here, I can use any of them. So for example, right now I have the order date and the product name, but I can change this to say quarter. And then even if I'm in reading mode, if I'm not the developer, just the user, what I can do is right click on this and change level, and I can choose any of the 4 that I have created in my report. So if I change it to month, it shows the month or year. So even in the reading mode, the user can interact with that, which is really cool. And then you can see what I was talking about, the missing data point. So in my query, I have intentionally excluded the November data. So in the chart, you can see that there is no November data point. And it's also in the alphabetical order. But over here, where I have used the time dimension, the month, created from the time dimension, this is what I have used here. I do have the November data point, but it's just 0. So every time there is a November, it's still there and it's 0. So if you have another chart lining up with this, they will all be continuous. It will be much easier to compare. Okay. Any question on this one? All right. So the next one, the intra-document linking. All right, so I've created a home page, and I can get into either of the summary or product analysis or the detail. So let me go to the summary page. So that's nothing but another report tab within my document. I don't have to necessarily click on them. So that's pretty cool. And then once I've looked at the summary, I just want to go and look at my more detail about products. I click on that, it takes me to the by product month. And then I also added a link to go back to the summary page, or I can go to a detail tab and go back there. And kind of this is what I meant by the time dimension example. And I'm talking about intra-document linking here, but when I created that, you can see how November lines up with November, September lines up with September, even though one has data, one doesn't have data. So I really like this one. I mean, right now a lot of us do a walk around, like we add another query, add some dummy values, merge them to create those continuous series. Now you can just use this built-in feature to do that. Right? I'll quickly show you how to create the intra-document linking. So I have this cell within this vertical table, and then I hard-coded like summary there. You can add a value or a text variable, anything can go in there. Then I right-click menu, linking, and then within the link dialog box, I go to the intra-document link, and then I can choose any of the available tags, choose that. You can add a tooltip, you can type in something, or you can use an object or a variable to make a dynamic tooltip as well. Right. The break. So I have this table right here without any break or any aggregation applied. So what I expect it to do is, as soon as I apply a break, you see I have those aggregation already created on the right hand side. I didn't have to add them manually. So again, it was not a very difficult thing to do, but it definitely saves a lot of time now that it adds the default aggregation automatically. For the page number per section, the new function we have now is called the page in section. That's the function. So when you use that, and you can add more text around it, like I have done, but pretty much the page in section creates the page number to reset for every new value of the section. So as I go through, you can see my regular page number is 1 out of 8. The next one, 2. But then when the product group changed from internal to network, I have 3, page number 3 for the regular one. But for the new function, I have the page number reset to 1. For the bookmark I spoke about, so if I create a PDF, so I have a section on this products, and if I export my document to a PDF, here is this little checkbox called display bookmarks. So if you check that, then you see the bookmarks panel is already open for you. Without that checkbox, it just opens this, the main report section. It still creates the bookmarks, but it doesn't display there. You have to go in and enable the bookmark panel and then use it. For the queries, so what I've done here is I'm listing the departments here, and for those departments I'm creating a trend chart. So my list of departments are coming from where all the sales division, and then my revenue query is based on departments where the departments from the other query. So what I have done here for my department query, which I know is not going to change daily or maybe not even yearly, if you go to the query property, I have a refreshable option here, so I have unchecked that. So once you do that, that particular query will not refresh for every scheduled refresh. You can always go back and check if you want to refresh it, but you don't do it automatically and increase the load time. Also, you can check from your so if you often use the query summary function to get more statistics about your query, now there is this new option where refreshable off and then refreshable on. So if you have like 5 or 6 queries in your document, you don't have to necessarily go into each and every one to check which one is checked or unchecked. You can just use your query summary to list all the queries which are turned off for refresh. Right, text data. So this report is created off of a text file. So let me show you how the query looks like. If you have used Excel as a data source ever, you will find it very similar to that. So I have a pipe delimited text file, and I have used that one, uploaded that to my BI folder, used that, and then it defined which one to be salesperson, which one to be order month, and which one to be which is dimension, which is measure. That's pretty much my source file. I just have 3 columns, and I have the headers on. You can have without headers as well. You just have to rename them in your query in that case. And then you run it, and you can also check whether this query to be refreshed or not. Any questions so far? Do you see any of these new features that you miss now and will be using if you are on SP6?
Out of interest, how many people are already on SP6?
One.
So the rest, are you on 5? How many on 5?
How much more time do I have? About 10 minutes, okay. So, how many of you have seen the Fiori Launchpad? You have? Anyone else? So it's a more user-friendly, super user type of interface, and SAP is adding a lot new features in every service pack. In every release, they are adding more and more features to this. Right now, this is more of a truly an interactive interface. You cannot build or design or modify anything in this, but it is kind of a very good preview to your actual launchpad that you use in the background. So as soon as I logged in, and the URL is, I find it pretty funny that this one, like whatever your server name, colon 88, that URL, and then our regular URL is BOE/BI, and then this one is BOE/BI Launchpad. Even though we call the other one Launchpad, the URL for this one is BI Launchpad. So it's the exact same server name as your regular BI Launchpad, but it's the actual Launchpad word added to your regular URL. So this is where it takes you. It's your home screen, and you can see it has a much nicer view, tile view to look at all your reports. Right now it is set to recently viewed. I can change it to my documents, and then it lists everything that's over there, or any particular categories. I don't have any categories defined here, but you can also switch it to show all. I wouldn't do that, but yeah, it's more friendly interface that you can immediately go and click on any of your reports of interest. So let me go to, for example, this one. So while it loads, it lists all the report tags as a list of value over here. So you can switch from one to another from the left-hand side panel. So instead of a tab on the bottom, it's a drop-down on the left-hand side. And only if it loads. So you can refresh. Silent. Yeah, I'm gonna pick a different one. So I can go into any of my report tabs from here. And also with the intra-document linking we saw before, that can work as an alternate to navigating through the drop-down. You can look at like properties of the document, so it gives you more statistics, like when was it created, by whom, when was it last refreshed, last modified. And right now I have the animation turned off. This is one of the new features. You can turn it on, and all your charts, instead of just showing up, it will have nice little animation there. We also have one of the major enhancements in this service pack is the auto refresh mode. So I clicked on the very right hand side here, and then auto refresh mode. If I click there, I can set it to any time and it will automatically refresh at that schedule. If your report has a prompt, it's going to prompt at the first time, but for the consecutive refreshers, it's just going to keep the previous value and keep refreshing on that schedule. And then we go to the break tab. It's not letting me click anywhere. You can actually enable the sorting and ranking here. So these are the typical interactive features that's available in the interactive viewer. So you can sort and rank, you can drill. So for example, if I enable the ranking, these two options pop up with your table or any kind of chart or visualization. So I can rank here. See that little trophy icon? And then I can rank for top 5. What do I have there? Revenue maybe. Click OK. And it ranks that block by that. So it's a feature available to the user on the interactive mode. I can sort, I can drill down, and some of these sort and drill down, these are kind of features already existed, but since many of you have not seen this interface, I wanted to kind of show you a little bit. You can zoom in and zoom out from this little bar here. If you have input controls, element linking, or report filter, they will show up here on this. You see the funnel icon? That's where it will show up. On this report, I don't have any, but if I had, that's where this one will kind of be highlighted. And at this point, if you want to go and make some changes to your report, you can click on the 3 little dots. That will open up this menu. You go to Open in Designer. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine came out just like my son does to me nowadays, now that he's started to talk back. Anything he doesn't want to do but realizes he has to, his reply is, that's fine. So it almost sounded like him there. And that's scary. That now brings back to your regular BI, where you can do your modification and all set up. I'll just make sure from my slide that I have not missed anything. Maybe just show you the new charts actually. That's probably the only thing. New chart options. So over here, for the funnel of the pyramid, it's the exact same setup. So in the assigned data, you can see I have a section size and a section color. So the section size, you will need to map the measure, and on the section color, you have to map the dimension you're looking against. And then under report elements and charts, if you go to more and all charts, there is a new options added like funnel and pyramid. You can pick from there. For the bar chart, the overlapping you can define from the plot area of the format chart. So on the drop down, if you go to plot area or directly from the chart to the plot area, under design, if you go to unlimited option, change from automatic to this one, and then spacing within groups, if I set it to a negative value, it starts overlapping. So based on how, minus 75 will overlap more. So more than minus 50. So that's where you can set it up from. All right. I think that's all I have.